Thank you, Acting Deputy President. And I'm pleased to speak on this urgency motion today. The need for a comprehensive investigation into the political and financial relationships between the Albanese Labor government, industry funds, super funds, unions and their impact on government policy, specifically regarding net zero targets, wind and solar energy. Now, there is nothing that encapsulates the long march of the left than the takeover of private industry by superannuation funds. Because let me tell you that superannuation is communism. Now, I've got to be honest here. It's not often I'd say this, but I actually think the other side of the chamber sometimes has a better understanding of capital than what this side of the chamber does. Because I'm in this party because I believe in capitalism. Okay, I believe in people who risk their own capital. I don't believe in free markets. I believe in the risk-reward paradigm. Now, I'm in very good company when I say that, because no less a person than Sir Robert Menzies himself says in the Forgotten People speech, in the last paragraph, we should not go back to the old and selfish notions of laissez-faire. There will be more control, not less of it. And I want you to think and ponder about that. There will be more control, not less of it. And the reason why Robert Menzies was so on the mark, that he foresaw the future. He knew that we are always at the threat of the communists and the Marxists, who are always trying to override our personal responsibilities. And there is nothing that overrides our personal responsibility more than taking 12% of a worker's wage and giving it to someone they've never met, and they may or may not get it back when they're 67. That is not capitalism. That is communism. And the big mistake that we made in the 80s was to sign up with Hawke and Keating. Now, this is where I come back to understanding capital. You see, they understood back in the 80s what they were doing when they introduced compulsory superannuation, because they know that if you control capital, you control industry. And today, superannuation controls over $3 trillion in capital. You want to know why they supported the yes vote and the voice? Because they control the capital. You want to know why they're mandating renewable energy targets? Because they control the capital. And what we've got is we have industry super funds that work together to combine their votes with one proxy voter at an AGM, and they control over 20% of the vote at major blue-chip companies. You add to that another 10% of retail funds, which is often controlled through BlackRock and Vanguard. BlackRock is run by a bloke by the name of Larry Fink, a well-known lefty. You've now got capital controlled by the left. Now, that is not what a true protectionist believes in. A true protectionist believes in empowering families and individuals. That is what true protectionism is. And there is no better way to protect the family and individual than to let the worker keep their wages, because they know better than anyone how to spend their own money. Because if they're not looking after their money, and that's what true capitalism is, when the person who earns the money looks after it, you're giving it to these unaccountable authorities. Now, whether it's the government and their taxation and the bureaucrats and the way they spend money, whether it's the superannuation funds and they pull out a lazy $30 billion a year in fees just to shuffle paper and gamble with your earnings, and it's also corporate executives, I might add. One of the things we have to realise is that large corporations are not capitalists. Those CEOs, if I had $1 for every time some CEO drove a company into the ground and then got paid a golden handshake on his way out, that is not capitalism. That is crony capitalism or socialism. Yes, small to medium business, when it's being run by the people who actually own the capital and they control the capital. That is true capitalism. And what we've got now is the result of this 40 years of a neoliberal takeover, whereby the individuals and the families have had their rights destroyed, is we have these lunatic policies like renewables based off models, shoddy models, that even this morning at the estimates at CSIRO, the head of the CSIRO couldn't even explain the assumptions, or didn't even know what the assumptions were used in that CostGen report. Now, this is the problem. We are being controlled by people who take no risk. It's the risk. They basically put the risk onto the individual and families. And that is why I've always believed that a true politician should be fighting for the rights of the individual and families, not Swami superannuation policy funds and their crazy ideologies.
Thank you.
Authorised G. Rennick People First Chermside.